Hi everyone, I'm so excited to do this interview today. Today I got Doreen Brown, which everybody call you Dorz, and she's an SEO specialist, and she helps business from all different sizes, and she's been working locally, internationally, and she's the first person who is more like not necessarily technical, but really touching on a big subject that I really want to cover for my audience, which is about search engine optimization, SEO. So I'm really excited to talk to you. Hi, Doreen. Dorz?
Hi, C. Oh, Doors. Yep. No, that's fine.
Yeah. So
Thank you for having me.
First of all, I really want to touch on your website, your video, because it's really funny. And I think it's like a story for so many of us that when we started, we are inspired, we got motivated, we want to create a business. Then we create a website. We put I don't know, some people put months, if not a year to create a website, right? And
Sure.
then they think everything will happen after that, or the customer will come, and then they got really disappointed that they never get found or nothing happens after that. So I
Absolutely.
know how important your work is. So tell us a little bit more about what inspired you to do what you do, and
Yeah,
also your
absolutely.
story, because your video talks a little bit about your background. So
It does. It does. And the way that video came to be, I actually had spoken to the videographer and explained to them that I'm not really, I guess, the usual SEO consultant or specialist in that I really want to be able to represent, what SEO is and who I am in a really authentic way. So sitting me behind a desk and trying to do a video with just me talking about SEO in that way, I didn't feel would really connect to my audience and be able to explain to them, the way in which I work and the way in which I see SEO and, the effectiveness of that for any size business really. So the way that I came into the world of SEO, I had just had my second child, and instead of returning back to the corporate world, I decided to build my first website and thought, great, I'm on maternity leave. I'm going to create an e-commerce type, website where I'm selling baby products for the different stages of their development. It was something that was of a personal interest to me, being a mum, but also I just, absolutely loved things to do with, the online world and websites and all that kind of thing. So I thought, oh, why not? I'm not sleeping because he was up, every couple of hours. I've got all this extra time where my brain was buzzing, and thought, I'm gonna build my first website. What I didn't realize was that once I pressed launched and published that website, that it actually took more than just pressing a button for that website to be effective and for people to find me online. So that's where I came across the world of SEO, so to speak. And I've watched, some YouTube videos and I read some blogs, but I couldn't really get my head around what it meant and how I could utilize that for my new online website and business, to be able to bring, other people other than family and friends that I was begging to come and visit, to check it out. How do I get the rest of the world to come and find me online? And then what ended up happening was I decided to not return after maternity leave to that corporate role. And I actually, through my website and through wanting to, I guess, learn more about SEO, I applied for an agency position, which was very entry level. So it was really, if you can imagine the person going and making the cups of coffee and tea, that would have been me. So I had gone from working in the corporate world for over, 15 years to going back into an entry level role because I wanted to learn all about the world of SEO from the ground up. Which I did. So I was being trained, by experts who had been in the industry for over 10 years. And, within a 5-year period, I went from learning the basics to then moving into a business analyst role. And then before the company closed down, I was actually managing 2 teams here in Australia and in the US, and looking after them and their development and their knowledge with, SEO and servicing their clients and so forth. So the way that that role came to be really was just me saying to the universe, hey, I'm ready for this new opportunity in my life. This is an area of marketing that I want to, develop my new career into. And I was in my mid-30s, as I said, mum of two, but I really saw that as my new sort of pathway because I was just so passionate about it. Like every time I would learn something new, I was learning something new again, and it was almost like this domino effect. And so eventually I wasn't so much focusing now on my own website. I was looking after other people's websites, but I'd learned so much just from the different types of clients and things, that I had the opportunity to work with. And then, yes, once that, business unfortunately closed down quite unexpectedly, that's when I decided, well, hey, I do have the knowledge and the skills, and I, get to work with the clients that are right for me and I'm right for them. And that's how Doreen Brown Consulting then, evolved out of that whole sort of process. Yeah.
Well, there's so many things I need to follow up on this one. There's so much golden nuggets. Like, first of all, I want to tell people that when they inspire, they want to do something. A lot of people really want to see success tomorrow. Like they build a website, whether they build themselves through blood and sweat, or they hire someone with lots of money to build it. It doesn't matter. They think that then customer will come tomorrow. It's not so simple. Like unless you say, for example, in your second transition, which is after a few years working in that field, you have some client your whereabouts, and when you transition a second time, it's probably much easier because you already know what you're doing. It's no longer new industry. You have some customer, you know the pathway. But that's through learning. There's no overnight success, so to speak. You have to learn your ropes, and I have to admire you. Like after working corporate world, which have its perks, like whether it's money or security, or you just what you're doing, that kind of safety versus you push yourself to do the entry level job. A lot of people won't be feeling comfortable to let themselves, because they don't know whether this will materialize into something bigger. They're worried that they were stuck in that coffee and tea roll.
Yes.
And then what happened to my dreams?
Yes.
Sometimes you kind of need to brew over, I don't know, a number of years for that dream to happen. And I have to say, sometimes the bigger your dream, the longer the brewing period is. It's like if you make a really good stew, you have to actually wait. You're not going to stir fry.
No, that's exactly right. And I've now been in the industry nearly 8 years. So I agree with you 100%. My dream did not, come true overnight, and it really took learning things from the ground up. But it's through that process that sets you up for that long-term, goal and those types of. It is.
It's got a good foundation. You know what you're talking about. You already have some clientele. And another thing I really want to point out for people is that, sometimes our dream may change a little bit. Like, as in, first of all, you can't just think into your dream, into manifestation, into big success. You actually have to take action. So the fact that you go back out there, take the learning experience is one thing. You got to move forward, right?
Yes.
And second is that, you still like to, use the online business to help people and do something you enjoy, but then it changes, refine the direction completely from selling baby products to helping online businesses on the SEO. It's different, but then until you go further in your vantage point, you don't know actually that's a bigger calling. Sometimes we don't know the big picture, and you can only discover more as you go further. And I think it's so important for people. They may start exactly like you, maternity leave, baby products, or earth-friendly products. A lot of people now really care about using friendly, non-toxic product for the household. They enjoy it, and then they want to change into a business. But then in this process, you may discover something else. You may discover you actually want to teach people how to make healthier food, or like yourself. But unless you actually get out the door, you don't know where you're going to end up. So
that's right.
Fantastic story.
Thank you.
Great example. And now I want to ask you a little bit about, in your video, you keep on saying visible, instead of like getting physical, getting visible.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit more about it, because you make it sound like, just from telling your story or the way you work, you make something so not sexy into something more like fun. Like, it sounds like you're really passionate and really enjoy working with clients on SEO, and you make something normally people find it like
boring. Boring is the word that comes to mind.
Boring,
Yes.
yeah. I think
Yeah.
sometimes people are really scared of thinking about technical stuff because it will
Yes.
make them feel, inadequate and don't get it, or it's too hard. It's actually the mindset issue, that when if you
Yes,
have a fixed
it
mindset or
is.
growth mindset, because you can always learn more. Nobody, you didn't know anything to start with because you didn't have any customer.
That's
So
exactly right.
you became an expert. So everything is
Yes.
possible. So tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about the visibility piece, that myth of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why in the video I'm also have my fairy wings on and my magical wand with my special dust, because for some reason, SEO in the past and also in the present has been made out to be this mystical thing, or it's over technical or things like that. So what I really want to do is share the message, I guess, with other business owners, small, medium, large, whatever size you are, to let you know that it doesn't need to be this magical, mystical, or boring, area. If you just break down the components, and the core thing that you need to remember with SEO is that it's really about common sense. And that's one thing that I can't teach. So I run, workshops. I do one-on-one SEO coaching. I do campaigns for clients. But one thing, as I always say to my clients, that I cannot teach is common sense. And that's a huge part of SEO. So understanding what your business is, what your online goals are, what it is that you want to achieve, and also understanding that SEO is one component of your marketing puzzle and strategy. Okay, so it's only one component, because every type of marketing channel has its own intention and purpose. When you go through and do something like paid ads on Google, that's the type of marketing that you switch on and switch off when you no longer want it. So really understanding what SEO is, the fundamental principles of it, and when it's broken down into smaller chunks, you begin to sort of see and understand that, hey, this isn't as technical or overwhelming as what I thought. I just need to take one step at a time, as long as I'm moving forward and remaining consistent. So that was really my main goal of that video, and Let's Get Visible, was to let other business owners understand that it doesn't need to be, this big scary ride, and that I can absolutely help in trying to break those down into little chunks, so that it is something that you can start to integrate into your marketing mix as of today.
Yeah, and I love what you say, because people imagine it's such a big wave, but if you look at it like one little wave or one bucket of water at a time, it's not the
Yes.
same, it's not as scary. And I also believe that not everything is created equal. So even as part of a marketing puzzle, some of the stuff are
Yes.
more fundamental, or you kind of have to get it right. I mean, for example, if you don't know what your business purpose is, then it's kind of like it's hard to teach common sense if we are unclear. So there are certain things somewhere, and then that could be your branding, and there's different things. So there's different marketing component. I completely agree, but not everything is created equal. So I think SEO is a very important component where you understand it, then you know which little bits you can or cannot do, or can you
Yes.
afford to do now. Maybe not now, but
Yes.
maybe later. So, but having that understanding can help you to choose the pieces.
It sure can. Absolutely right. I agree with what you're saying there, 100%.
Yeah, and now I know that you often talk about some of the common mistakes that people, have, or
Yes.
perception. So tell
Yes.
us a little bit more about, from experience in working with, probably like more relevant will be small, medium businesses. That
Yes.
say it could be a medium business, but they kind of want to have more online presence versus the offline. They may have stores and everything. So what are
Yeah.
the most common mistakes that you find that, you come across often?
Sure. The top one is probably not having a strategy and plan. So business owners would have heard about things like keywords and possibly, link building or building links to your website and those types of things, but they've not actually sat down and put together a formalized strategy or plan. And so what they're doing is they're doing a little bit here, they're doing a little bit there, but that usually doesn't amount to anything. And so what they'll then I guess understand or think is that, oh, SEO doesn't work because I tried to do a little bit here and I tried to do a little bit there, but without having a mapped out strategy where you can go, okay, this is actually what we need to do. These are our focus areas. We need to plot this out for the next 12 months and work on those particular areas ongoing. That's usually where businesses are making sort of that main fundamental, mistake from the beginning. As you said, it's about building that foundation. So if you're not spending the time in creating that strategy and planning, you don't know where you're going, doing little bits of pieces here and there does not amount usually to any great outcomes.
Oh, can I ask you a little bit further in this one? So how
Yes.
does like a strategy or a simple plan look like for say a healing practitioner or a coach, just learned what they have learned, or they may be a
Yes.
psychologist and now want to be a life coach, whatever that is, they want to switch
Yeah.
working for themselves. And then, so what does the strategy or plan looks like? Does it mean that they have goals as in how many visitors a year, or goals as in how much money they make? What does that strategy plan look like? Like,
Absolutely. So it's about breaking down the SEO component into three main areas. And this is the formula that I use for myself and all of my clients. So SEO is made up of three areas. The first one is on-site SEO. On-site SEO relates to all of the things that you're doing on your physical website. So this is things like the content that you're producing on your website. It's also the metadata. So metadata is the information that lives behind the pages that lets search engines like Google understand what your website and what your pages are about. It also incorporates things like your internal linking strategies. So the way in which your pages have a relationship to each other. So for example, on your homepage, if you have a section on it that says, get in touch with us today, that you actually have a link from that section of your homepage that links through to your contact page and your contact form, and relates to that section of your website as well. So it's all the things that you do on your physical website. The next component and part of the formula is your off-site SEO. So off-site SEO relates to the things that you're doing away from your website, but are ticks of approval or indicators to search engines like Google that you are the expert in your field. So things like having an opportunity to publish content on somebody else's website. So let's say you said to me, Dorz, I'd really love you to create a blog post for me this month about SEO for small businesses or practitioners or what have you. Me developing that content and then your website linking back to me, giving me the basically saying I am the author and I'm the expert in that field, that's another indicator to Google that I know what I'm talking about. So, hey, you should come and visit me because I'm an SEO specialist and I'm talking about this. Other off-site SEO elements even incorporate things like your social media profiles. So usually when you create a business page on platforms like Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram, what you're doing is you're also putting a link to your website in your profile. So you'll have like information about your business and about who you are. And then there is a link that comes back to your website to direct those users to come and visit you online. Okay, so even social media properties, and this is why a lot of businesses don't realize they're already doing SEO, but not understanding or knowing that offsite SEO has an impact. That's where they think, oh, I haven't even started. But most businesses have already, made movement towards their SEO strategy and plan. So that's the second component of it. The third component of it is technical SEO. So this is the third part of the formula that's used. And this relates to the structure of your website. So I'm not sure if this has ever happened to you, but it happens to me quite a bit. I'll go to Google something and then I'll end up on a 404 page or a dead page of a website. And it says, what the information you are trying to find cannot be found at this time. And it comes up with a big 404 error. So it's making sure that your website doesn't have those types of dead pages or 404 pages.
Broken links, right?
And broken links, yes. So that's another component of that. So what I do on a regular basis is I complete a health check. So no different to how we would go to the doctor and have a checkup and make sure that our fingers are working, our arms are working, our legs are working, our feet are working. That's literally the same thing that we do with websites, because when developers are creating websites, SEO may not be top of mind when it comes to the way that they've structured their pages, they've structured their URLs, the way in which those pages are then submitted to Google. So I know when I launched my first baby website, Baby Stages website, I didn't know you had to submit your actual website to Google. I didn't know that. So it's those types of elements and things that can be done to again, get that improved visibility online, but you're not going to know that until you actually go through and break down those three components of that SEO formula.
I love it. Like, you really break it down. Like one of the biggest weight on this problem is how to get visible is that, okay, there's three big components. You may not be able to do everything at once, but at least
Yes,
that's the
what
three
they
main
are.
course.
Yeah.
So maybe today you skip the dessert, but make sure you tackle part of the main course.
Yes, absolutely. I love that.
I love it. And so that's one of the most common mistakes of people. So what is it another one that you really top of your head that you really think that a lot
Yes.
of people don't even know they're doing it?
Yes, inconsistency.
Oh,
So
okay.
one of the main things, that I hear all the time is, SEO doesn't work. And it's like, okay, well, it's no different to going to the gym. And this is why I use the gym analogy in my video, because if you went to the gym for a month or 2 months and then you stopped going to the gym, what's going to happen? You're most likely going to end up with the body you had before you went to the gym. And SEO is no different. If you're going to start with an SEO strategy and plan, you need to consistently show up. You can't just do it for a month or two and then stop, because think about your body when you go to the gym. You do it for a couple of months and then you stop. You're not going to receive or get the results that you're anticipating because you're not putting the effort in. So you can't say that something doesn't work. I can't say that the gym doesn't work for me because I stopped after 2 months. For me to be able to really get those results, I have to maintain my workouts. I need to keep, showing up and going to the gym. And so SEO is no different. So that's a really huge thing that I see is people saying, oh yeah, it doesn't work, but they've stopped. So they'll do it for a month or two and then they just stop and think, oh, it's just going to miraculously continue to work. But the thing is that your competitors don't stop. Okay, so you're always going to have online and offline competitors, whether they're existing or people who are brand new and coming into the market. So you've always got to try and stay ahead of the game rather than always trying to play catch up. So that's another really, key thing that I see is inconsistency.
When you say consistent, are you referring to, say, content marketing or like putting fresh, say you write a blog
Yes.
post or you reply
Yes.
to comment, whatever that is that you're doing something
Yes.
on your website?
Yeah, and it's similar to social media. So, you would have a content strategy around the social media posts that you post. If you stop posting, people stop, receiving your message. They stop seeing you. They're going to start to drop off, and you're not going to get as much engagement or brand exposure if you just stop. So it's very similar to that. It's about having that plan, but once you implement it, continuing to do activities to help your online visibility consistently. So don't give up after a week or a month. Make sure that you're writing a fresh piece of blog content, every week and publishing that on your website, sharing that and distributing that on channels like social media marketing or email marketing. So it's about having that plan and remaining consistent, not just doing a little bit here, a little bit there when you feel like it, but actually having a plan and making sure that you stick to it.
I love what you said, when you feel like it, because sometimes, you know what, we just don't feel like it. You had like, a tough week and writing content, it may not be the thing, but if you make it as a plan, then, this week
Yes.
I'm going to do this, next week I'm going to do that. Then it's more like, just doing a piece of what you already have agreed to do. It's very different than, oh, let me think about what I'm supposed to do this week. It's very different mindset. So
it's planning ahead, and a way in which to combat that is to schedule time in. So you'll schedule time in for client meetings, you'll schedule time in for other components of your business. You need to actually schedule time in for your SEO activities as well. So that's what my calendar looks like. My calendar is filled with all different colored boxes and time slots because everything is mapped out in that calendar. Our podcast today together is mapped out in my calendar, because I need to stick to that goal. I need to stick to that plan. That's what I have scheduled for myself today. And in order to be accountable for that, I need to have that in the calendar. So it's not just appointments that you have with clients or, the coffee catch up. Actually map out and plan and schedule your SEO activities in your calendar, whether that's one day a week or an hour a week. Make sure that it's actually scheduled in and it sends you a reminder, so well in advance, okay, I need to do that blog content this week, but I've actually blocked out some time so that I feel like I can actually do it.
Yeah, I love your tips, because like for me, I'm similar. I have a schedule to follow, and I often like have planned by topics, but then if something comes up, then I will replace the topic and I may switch time around. But it actually, what I found is that I may have planned some topics long time ago, but then, things happen, you have fresh ideas, but it's so much easier to replace and, adjust it than you have zero. So you felt, oh my God, to think about it. Often I have everything mapped out for like 52 weeks. And then what happened is that every week I have new ideas. And even I don't need that too, because I already have it mapped out. It's very interesting. I don't know what happens, but since I have mapped out my content, I actually have more topics.
Yes. And it's about getting there and not having that, brain freeze moment. So as you said, things change and your business will continue to evolve. So what you plan at the beginning of the year in January is usually not what your business is going to look like in December, because through that process and through the evolution of your business continuing to grow and develop, you're going to have those changes. So you do need to be fluid and make sure that you understand that things don't always turn out the way that you plan. But the beauty about SEO is that nothing is set in stone. So it can support you through the changes and development and growth of your business as well. That's what I really love about this particular form of marketing.
So I think I wanted to ask you 3 most common mistakes. So we talk about 2 really big ones, and they already kind of like flow into each other, isn't it? Once we have the plan and mapped out and the strategy, then one of the big pieces is about consistently following that plan. So what would be the 3rd mistake?
The 3rd one is getting to the point where you feel like you can maybe outsource some of the activities. So looking for either an SEO consultant like myself or going to an agency and just handing everything over, okay? And kind of putting your blinkers on or putting your blindfold on and going, okay, well, someone else is looking after that for me, so I don't need to worry about it. And what I see happening with clients is that they'll hand over everything. They'll hand over their logins for their website. They'll hand over, domain hosting, like everything to do with their website is just someone else's problem. And they kind of dig their heads and put their heads in the sand and they forget about it for a while. And that's probably one of the 3rd, biggest mistake is, even though you may decide to outsource your SEO to an expert or agency, never ever lose that contact or lose that access to your most important digital asset, because over time, and it's just the way that it goes, but you may decide to bring back your SEO activities internally. So you want to bring it back into your business and you want to start to self-manage that. Or let's say, for example, that relationship with the agency or consultant has come to an end. Yeah, not all good things last forever. So you've got to be realistic. And when you just hand everything over and then it's given back to you, after a year or after 2 years, it's so overwhelming because you've not been part of that process. So the thing that I would suggest or recommend is, even if you do decide to outsource some of your activities, keep that relationship and keep that discussion going. Make sure you understand, even from a top level perspective, what's happening and the intention behind what is being done. Because if you're trying to pick it up after 12 months or 2 years and you don't know what's been happening and what's going on, that's where the overwhelm comes in and you just feel like you're unable to do it. So at all times, keep the discussion going, keep that relationship going, and make sure that there is transparency with the work that is being done for you. Because at the end of the day, this is your business and it's your website. It's no different to going and buying a car and then saying to the dealer, oh, hey, you can keep the keys. I'll just borrow the car when I feel like it, but you can actually drive it around. I'll pay for it. I'll pay for the fuel. I'll pay for the car. I'll pay for servicing, but you keep the keys and you drive it. No, it's your car. It's your most important thing. You still have to have access to it, and you have to know what's happening with it as well.
I love it. And you know, it's also, once again, it's partly mindset issue, because sometimes people are scared of the whole topic. So, okay, take this whole big baby from me. I don't want to know
someone else's
about
problem.
it. But then if you're not open to learn, even if there's a fantastic opportunity in front of your face, you can't say, oh, that sounds good. Let me, you know, get it. You don't know, because you completely blind your eyes, and you let someone else to do it, because that person is not you and is your business. So they would not have the same perspective. They wouldn't say huge opportunity. They wouldn't be able to say yes for you. So I think it's a big piece, and it's definitely a mindset issue, because if you look at all the CEOs, it's never they would go, okay, I don't have to talk to any of my managers. They are just going to do their work. It's okay. You know, you need to kind of keep your hand on the pulse, right? You don't have to micromanage everything. You don't have to do everything physically, but you kind of know, you need to know what's going on. And the ongoing learning will help you to understand what's happening in this house, right?
Exactly. So they're the three ones: that they're not having the strategy, the no consistency, and then just handing it over and burying your head in the sand. They're the three most common things that I see when clients come to me.
I love it, and I can definitely see how it really, like, you know, show up in real life, because I bet you have some clients come to you because they were they were doing the third mistake from the previous years. So they didn't work out with the, you know, the website people, and then they found you that, oh my God, help me out, I know nothing, and this is a big chunk, go with it. And then you're like, so you have no idea what's going on.
Yes. And so I make it my mission that even though they do hand it over to me, that it's actually a two-way street. And, you know, part of agreeing to work with clients, I'm very particular as to who I work with, because there needs to be that common understanding that we're in this together. Yes, I'm going to do the heavy lifting for you, but it's a working relationship, and we need to be in this together, and we need to achieve these goals together. So I'm an extension of their team. I'm not an outsourced person that they just hand over money to every month and just go, oh yeah, hey, you look after it. No, we catch up on a regular basis. We discuss what's happening from a holistic perspective. I'm inserted into the component that is relevant to me, which obviously is the SEO, but we work together. So there's no sitting in a box and working separately. It's, hey, this is what's happening. This is what we need to work on together. This is what I'm doing. This is what you're doing. And this is the way that it's going to work. And if they're not wanting to do it that way, then I'm probably not their right person.
I really love it. I mean, I will be super excited to work with you, because I kind of like, I'm not a control freak, but I need to know what's going on. I will feel very uncomfortable if I have no idea what's happening and someone else is doing everything for me. So what if that person gets sick, or I need to fix something very quickly and I'm in another time zone? I hate that feeling. So even from the very beginning when I developed, I mean, I had so many websites over the years, right? Because you look at something 5 years ago, like, oh no. And but I mean, I have people help me with website, but I always feel it's actually best if you kind of know what you're going for, what you're doing, and then you get people advice or do some heavy lifting that you kind of know what's happening, so that you can really become yours. And that leads to my final question or point, which is about being personal, because I found there's a lot of, you know, businesses out there, especially online. If you go on a Facebook feed or Instagram, maybe there are a lot of people selling very similar things, and sometimes they all look so similar. Like it's like, how can we become more like stand out in a way, not like trying to puff our chest and like that sort of standing out from a crowd, but, you know, just show our uniqueness. I think it would be so important. How can we become more, I mean, maybe it's a branding issue, but I think being personal is so important. What's your take on that?
I agree. And all of my stuff doesn't look probably like anything like any other SEO specialist or consultant out there. And that's the message that I get from a lot of people. So I do quite a lot of networking and those types of things. And they're like, oh, you're the girl in the leotard and the pink, banner and doing the let's get visible. And I'm like, yes, it's memorable, but it's also me. That's I try to make sure that I'm as authentic and bring my own personality out into my business, because you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. I'm not there to help or support, the entire world, but I'm there to connect with the right people that I want to work with. So what I also say is, attraction is common, connection is rare. So when you are able to connect with the right clients and the right people, that makes just such a huge difference to your business and the growth and development of your business. Because if you're just looking at it from a dollar sign perspective and you're not being real or true to the purpose and intention behind what it is that you want to do, it's not going to last. And that's with any business. If you're doing it just chasing dollar signs, it won't last forever, because you don't have, that internal intention of what it is that you want to do, which is to help and support people that don't have the same knowledge and skills as what you do. So you're there to help them, achieve that. So I think just being really authentic to your own voice. And don't try to compare yourself to other people. It doesn't matter that there isn't anyone else out there in their leotards, singing and dancing about SEO. That's okay. That might not be their cup of tea or their thing, but that's who I am. So I'm always going to stick to who I am, and whether it's liked or disliked, that to me is connecting rather than attracting. And that's what I want. I want connection with my client.
I love it, because that's common mistake in another field. Looking at it, it's you're trying to be everything to everyone all the time, and that's a bit of hiding behind. You don't want to miss out that group of client. You don't want to miss out that age group. So you're trying to be everything for everyone, but then at the end nobody remembers who you are, because, and I understand that sometimes it's a little bit scary to come out from your safety zone.
It is.
Like I'm actually that girl who love to do something funny and have leotards and do weights and like that and make a video. You take a bit of courage to step out, but in another sense, that if you don't do that, then people who need to connect with you can't see that. So you just gotta be authentic and be yourself. And I agree with you, not everyone will like, oh, what kind of SEO expert is this in leotard, and that's okay, because you probably it's not a good match, but then there'll be someone like, oh my god, you gotta check this out, and I think that really matters, that we try not to conquer everyone everywhere, but just the right people. And it's the same as the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. You sometimes you just focus on your 20% of the best clients and forget about the 80% of those that give you headaches, right? So that's it. It is so much wisdom in such a short time, and it has been incredible talking to you. And I learned so much from just listening to you. And I think one of the biggest takeaway from this, not just all the things we need to think about and do, but just to look at it from a perspective, is that you take it into small chunks and you just tackle one thing at a time and consistent with it, and then you're going to get somewhere. How you started in the new industry, new job, it takes some time, but then you can be an expert. And so with someone who's starting their business, maybe it's like they feel like they're not visible, but through time and consistent effort, they will become the expert are known in the industry. So it just takes time and consistent action, and you can't do everything in one day, right? So
no, and SEO is a marathon, not a sprint. That's what people need to remember. It's the marketing channel that is going to be there for you for the long term. So the more that you do towards it, the longer that visibility online will stay for you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dorz.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
I'm sure a lot of people would love to, get your expertise to do a health check or help them with the strategy and planning. So how can people find you? What's the best way to contact you?
Yep, so if they head on over to my website at www.doreenbrown.com.au, and all of my contact details are there. They can contact or send through a form to schedule a call, so I can do a bit of a discovery call with them and have a chat about what their goals are and where it is they want to go and what they want to achieve. And as I say to people, I never sell you anything that you don't need. So if we have a discussion and I feel like you're on track, or if there is opportunity for us to work together, then I'm pretty straightforward straightforward and upfront as to where and how, you know, that could work. They can also, follow my business pages. So I am on Facebook at Doreen Brown Consulting and on Instagram as well under those two handles. So please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to have, as I said, that chat. It's no obligation, and I'll just tell you exactly, you know, how it is. And then it's up to you to decide whether, you know, you want to, do that yourself, or if you want to outsource it. But just having that knowledge and education around what it is that you need and where you're at, I think is key and quite important when you're kicking something like SEO off. Yeah.
And you work with people like different background, different business sizes, and all that, right? So people don't have to be like, sometimes people say, oh, I need to talk to SEO expert when they reach like, I have to have 50 employees or something like that.
No, absolutely not. So any size business, whether you're small, medium or large, I also have different types of programs and campaigns that suit the smaller to medium sized businesses, because I understand that not everyone has those huge marketing budgets, and that's why I launched the business that I have, because I do cater for the smaller guys, because I just feel that everyone should have access to the same type of knowledge and information regardless of your size. So you don't need to wait until you've got 50 employees. You can be a solopreneur, you can have a team of 2 or 5. It really does not matter what size business you are. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Doreen. Dorz.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you
welcome.
so much.
Thank you. Thanks, C.